At 39, I finally got pregnant, and my husband said the impossible words to me. Really? You're pregnant? This is the worst. Let's get divorced today. What? I don't want to have a problem child born at an advanced age. So, good luck. I was devastated. There was no marital bond between us, even though we'd been together for 10 years. My only hope was the life growing inside me. I vowed that I would make this child happy on my own. I promised to put all my love into raising this child. 20 years later, I was able to raise my child to adulthood and unexpectedly ran into my ex-husband on the street. Standing next to my ex-husband was a woman, disproportionately young and beautiful for him. Upon seeing the face of our adult son and me, the ex-husband said in surprise, "So, did you really have a baby? That's crazy, lol. Oh, he seems to be alive, but is he okay? After all, it's Nora who has to take care of him, right?" Said. Same old verbal abuse from my husband. I was furious, but I didn't have time to react before I noticed that the woman next to him had gone pale. "Stop it. You don't know this man." "What?" "My name is Nora. I'm a single mother with an only son. Before I got married, I had one dream, to build a warm family with my husband and children. Children. I didn't wish for anything grand, a kind husband and children who might be a handful but are dearly loved. Maybe 2 kids. Fulfilling this simple wish was my lifelong dream. There wasn't any specific trigger. My parents raised me normally, and I have 2 older sisters. I wasn't starved for anything. I simply wished to have that ordinary happiness as a woman. I married Carter when we were both 29. Our relationship started at work and led to his proposal. I tend to be conservative while Carter was more lighthearted. We seemed mismatched, but at that time, I found his carefree nature very attractive. He had something I didn't. I was also feeling a bit pressured as I was nearing 30. After the proposal, everything went smoothly. Meeting each other's families, the engagement ceremony, and the wedding. We lived days picture perfect. This was supposed to fulfill my wish. We never suspected, but reality did not follow such a smooth course. "Don't you pregnant yet?" A year into our marriage, Carter asked me this in our bedroom. I felt a tightness in my chest. From the beginning of our marriage, we were positive about having kids. It was my dream, and Carter also wanted kids sooner rather than later. It bothered me when my husband once remarked it would affect my career at work. I was concerned about this, but I was sure that Carter was at least positive about having a child. We tried for a baby at a pace that was probably too ambitious, yet there was no sign of pregnancy in my belly. Could there be something wrong with your belly? I mean, I don't know without checking, but if you say that, you need to cooperate too. Whether or not we have a child is a problem for both of us. You're saying there's something wrong with my body? Give me a break. There's no way I have a problem. I'm not saying that. Usually, it's the mother's side, right? Make sure to get yourself checked out at the hospital. I can't keep doing this for nothing. Such a way to speak. His harsh words only made me feel heavier. We didn't know at that point which side had the problem, yet in his mind, it seemed I was already the culprit. It was because I couldn't get pregnant. I was driving myself into a corner, slightly neurotic. I visited the hospital numerous times, but no clear abnormalities were found in my body. When I told Carter, he reluctantly agreed to get tested as well, and it turned out there were no issues with either of us. In the end, we were diagnosed with unexplained infertility, and we started a comprehensive treatment that included timing therapy. Having to frequently visit the hospital to estimate ovulation days was stressful for me, and being prompted that this moment has a higher chance for conception, made the act with Carter feel incredibly mechanical and uncomfortable. My husband didn't seem to mind and didn't say anything in particular when I showed signs of sinking after our time together. Around that time, I'm busy with work, became his catchphrase, and it felt like he was absent-minded even when spending time with me. And so, 10 years of marriage passed until one day, no way, I'm pregnant. I couldn't find the words when I heard the test results at the hospital. Achieving my long-cherished goal after 10 years, it had been such a long time. Day after day, all I thought about was getting pregnant, facing disappointment after disappointment for 10 years. Finally, those days were rewarded, and I was blessed with the long-awaited baby. 3 months pregnant, it was an irreplaceable treasure to me. I excitedly called Carter to tell him the news. Listen, we finally have a baby. It's our child. Hold on, I'm in the middle of a tough job. Let's talk when I get home. I was taken aback by his curt response. Wasn't he happy about my pregnancy, our long-awaited child? No, it's just as he said, he's busy with work. It was my fault for calling him out of the blue during work. When he comes home and we talk properly, surely he'll be as happy as I am. However, when Carter came home, he surprised me with unexpected words. Are you really going to give birth to that? What do you mean that? Are you talking about our baby? Yeah, that. The kid in your belly. It's not like it's free to have a baby. What are you talking about? It's our long-awaited baby. Of course, I'm planning to have it. It's been my dream for years. Think about your age, Nora. How old do you think you are? 39, you know? 39, that's practically old, not the age to have kids. That's not true. Sure, I'm not young, but having a baby at 39 is normal these days. Even the doctor said there's no problems so far. So far, right? What about in the future? What if the child is born with issues? That's just going to be more trouble. His words felt like a stab in the back. Troublesome child. Is he talking about children born with disabilities? If that's the case, it was a shivering line from my husband. I firmly retorted, we don't get to choose what kind of child is born to us. And even if my child has a handicap, I will still love the child, because that's what parents do. That's what being a parent is all about. Sounds like something I've heard before. Seriously, you never change. Always so idealistic. Being prudent was your only virtue, and that's why I married you. But I'm fed up now. Fed up. You want a child? Why don't you have it on your own? Just remember, I won't have anything to do with it. That's your child, not mine. How can you say something so awful? After 10 years of trying with fertility treatments, it's too late to show any results. And if the child born is troublesome, we'll have to take care of it. Aren't children supposed to take care of us in our old age? Really? I was speechless. My husband was treating our child as some kind of tool. Thinking back, even in our newlywed days, he connected having children with career advancement at his company. It seems in his mind, children were nothing more than tools to benefit his own life. I couldn't contain my anger. I thought about slapping him, but before I could, he hit me with words even more hurtful. Let's get a divorce. A divorce? Honestly, I've been fed up with you. You're gloomy and we couldn't have children. How are we supposed to continue as a couple now that you're pregnant at this age? Are you serious? You want to divorce me? I'm dead serious. If you want, I can write the divorce papers right now. But I'm not giving you alimony. I've suffered for 10 years because of your infertility. I'd rather take the money. The nerve of you. I was beyond appalled. I ran out of words. With such a husband, it was wiser for me to hand him the divorce papers myself. For the sake of the child coming, it was best to cleanly break ties with such a father. A month after my pregnancy was discovered, we officially divorced, just as my husband wanted. I didn't ask for a single penny. In exchange, I made sure he would never meet his child for the rest of his life. He laughed and agreed, but I never wanted our child to know such a father existed. After the divorce, I moved back to my birthplace, relying on my parents in the countryside. Both of my parents, now in their 70s, welcomed me back with open arms. Together with the treatment I received from my husband, I could not stop the tears that welled up in my eyes as I looked into my parents' faces. I had really been through a lot. Clutching to my parents, I still didn't forget to live strongly from then on. That was my duty as a mother. I vowed to make sure my child and I would find happiness together, no matter what kind of child was born. And then, as time passed, 20 years after the divorce, my son Brooks grew up. Healthily. All of my husband's worries were unfounded. Brooks was born completely healthy. In fact, he was more than I could have ever wished for. Ever since he was a child, he did well academically, and when it came to athletics, he was as good as anyone in his grade. Moreover, he was straightforward and never boastful about his abilities. Here's the text with the appropriate punctuation added. I love that about my son the most. No matter how talented a person is, character is crucial. In that regard, I was truly relieved that Brooks didn't resemble his father. Though he had plans for college after graduating high school, Brooks chose to work because he had something he wanted to do. While I felt it was a bit of a waste, I quietly watched over his decision. As his mother, it wasn't my place to criticize his choices. If he ever stumbled, that would be the time for me to offer my support. But there was never a need to worry about Brooks. 2 years after Brooks started working, now 20 and fully matured, we went shopping together one day. It was close to my birthday, and Brooks wanted to buy me a present. My son made me cry easily when he said, "I've only ever caused you trouble, Mom." As a single mother, I must have caused my son a lot of pain, but he grew up vigorously and never showed any concern about it. I couldn't think of a greater gift than that. Is that Nora? It was then I heard an unexpected voice at the entrance of the department store. I came face to face with a familiar face. I couldn't stop my spine from shivering. There was Carter's face, unchanged even after 20 years, with a contemptuous smirk. And beside him was a young woman I didn't recognize. "So you're still alive, huh? And your defective kid?" Right off the bat, Carter looked at my son and made a snide comment. I thought about hitting him then and there, but I held back because we were in public. Above all, I couldn't embarrass myself in front of my son. As gloomy as ever, Nora. You're seeing your husband for the first time in 20 years. You could be a little more pleasant, huh? Well, that's why I left you. I don't recall being left by you. I was the one who gave up on you. That's why we haven't contacted each other for 20 years. That's exactly why you're so gloomy. Well, I've changed a lot since then. Got a new wife and soon-to-be college student kid. Quite a young wife you have there. I wonder where you found her. Don't be jealous, Nora. Can't help it if I'm popular, right? My new wife, Aya, and I got married when she was 25, right after we split, so about 20 years ago. Our nights are still lively, you know. I don't want to hear such filthy stories. Remarry or whatever. It's none of our business anymore. Don't say that. I feel sorry for you, you know. After we split, raising a kid on your own must have been tough. Plus, having a defective child. Does he still need care, or can't he at least change his own diapers? How dare you? I was at my breaking point, about to throw my bag at Carter. Brooks, my son, was quick to stop me. Despite hearing his father's harsh words, Brooks maintained his composure. "Mom, calm down. There's no need to take what this person says seriously. Like you said, he's irrelevant to us." So the defective one speaks up. "Who taught you that? A doctor? A nurse? Please don't involve yourself with us anymore. Especially don't come near my mother. If you try to harm her, I will never forgive you." Haha, he's a comedian. What can a little prick like you do to me? You've been a failure since birth. I'm a police officer. When Brooks revealed this, Carter's face visibly tensed. Just as my son said, right after high school, he went to the police academy. He wanted to do a job that could help people, That was the path he chose without waiting for college. Now he has graduated from the academy and is serving commendably in our local police force. This must have been a surprise for Carter, but even more shocked was Carter's new wife, Aya, who had silently listened to the conversation. She covered her mouth, pointing a trembling finger at Brooks. Her fingertips were trembling. Police. You my dad's. What are you talking about, Aya? What relation could this brat have with your father? This is bad. Don't antagonize him. It could cost you your job. Oh hey, Aya, what are you talking about? Suddenly, ignoring Carter's confusion, his new wife seemed to be dragging him away. They quickly moved away from us. Carter's puzzled expression was memorable. I was just as confused. Carter's new wife seemed to recognize Brooks and hurriedly left our presence. What's going on, Brooks? Do you know that woman? I'm not sure. She mentioned Dad, but maybe she meant the chief. Brooks' words hinted at the true nature of the situation, which became clear a week after our encounter with Carter. I received a call from Carter on my smartphone for the first time in 20 years. Back then, cell phones were just starting to become common. Since then, my phone number hadn't changed. Please, Nora, let me talk to my son, Brooks. What's this all about? Why do you want to talk to my son all of a sudden? My job's on the line. I had no idea he was close with Aya's father. Carter continued in a voice that sounded like he was clinging to me, crying. To summarize his story, it went like this. Carter's new wife Aya's father was also a police officer before and even served as a chief of police, a very influential person. Apparently, this former chief had taken a special interest in a rookie who happened to be my son Brooks. Brooks had made a name for himself locally by catching an arsonist early in his assignment to a police box. This caught the former chief's attention, and he had been both publicly and privately supportive. Naturally, I had heard about this from Brooks himself, but I never imagined that this former chief was Carter's father-in-law. Furthermore, my ex-husband told me that the former chief of police is even planning to adopt Brooks as his son-in-law out of love for my son. The former chief has a granddaughter in college, and the family openly discussed wanting Brooks as her husband. Even Brooks hadn't heard that far, though my father-in-law seems to be very fond of Brooks. As a result of this incident, if his father-in-law had heard that he abandoned Brooks 20 years ago, he would have been extremely angry. He's furious, still as intimidating as when he was the chief of police. Even though he's retired, that's unfortunate for you. So you want to talk to my son, and then what? I need Brooks to smooth things over with my father-in-law. I've been getting work from Aya's father's security company jobs. You know how strong connections are in the police world. If I offend him, I'm out of work. That's what you deserve, isn't it? It proves that they didn't trust you that much in the first place. If you were a decent person, you wouldn't have lost your job over Aya's story. Don't say that. My wife Aya was also very upset when she found out about our son. She wondered how I could behave like that toward my own son. It was Aya who told my father-in-law about this, you know. If this keeps up, my wife will leave me too. Your wife made a wise decision. After all, if you could treat my son like that, who knows what you might do to your own children with her? What goes around comes around. You should gracefully withdraw. Hey, if that happens, would you mind if I came and lived with you? I can't live alone. It would be too lonely to be alone in my old age. I'll take good care of our son and Brooks too. Unfortunately for you, my son can live a fine life without your help. I ended the call, cutting off Carter's ranting. I even turned off the phone to avoid further contact from him. Honestly, it serves him right. After all the suffering he caused us, it's his turn to face the consequences. Even if he's discarded by his own family, there's no way we would help him. Even my son would say, I'd rather not help that kind of person. Later on, I heard through the grapevine that Carter was lost without a place to go. Apparently, he was quickly discarded by his new wife. There's no doubt the former chief's influence played a role. The former chief even made some indirect contact with Brooks. Brooks said, "Don't worry about it," without going into detail. At nearly 60, Carter lost his job and his family. It is too late to regret that he should have been happy about my pregnancy at that time. We are living our lives already, holding on to our modest happiness. It's different from the ideal I had before marriage, but I'm completely satisfied. Today, my proud son continues to serve the public and do his best as a police officer.